All right, let's talk about it. Dennis Rodman, D-Rod, my personal favorites. Got him as my number one ranked starting power forward. Right now, has nothing to do with biasness, and none of that stuff. This isn't what this video is about, but pretty much what this is about and is streamed alive, whatever you want to call it. It's about Dennis Rodman pretty much being vocal with both the Lakers team, particularly the Kobe and the Shaq era, and also the Chicago Bulls days, in which he played, of course, with MJ and Scotty. About a couple things on that too as well. But first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tackle the Lakers situation, in which he was very vocal about. Did not hold back. And then we'll go ahead and we will tackle what he had to say about MJ and Scotty. Now, before I get this video started and go in depth and detail about everything, I want to give a shout out to Raw for TV, because he touched on half of the point of what I'm about to talk about in terms of MJ and Scotty or whatever. And of course, he knows a lot more in depth about what was going on during that time. Because, he's a Bulls fan, and he lived through it and he's seen it before a lot of y'all just saw a candid view of what was going on in The Last Dance and everything like that. But me, myself, I lived through it. I saw it, and of course, Dennis Rodman was one of my favorite players to watch growing up and everything. So let's get right to it. Okay, now, Dennis Rodman was pretty much vocal as to what was going on with the Kobe and Shaq situation, what was going on, what was taking place and stuff. And, he was very vocal as to, how it was playing with both Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, okay? And he basically said, quote, I couldn't hear that shit, every day. They were bitching and complaining. Of course, for those of y'all that don't know, Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, they would often butt heads, but it didn't stop the duo from being one of the 1-2 punches of all time and winning 3 championships. But basically, he said, I couldn't hear that shit every single day. They were bitching and complaining. They just bitching about everything. I'm not used to this. And he basically compared it to Chicago. He said, in Chicago, we never did this shit. If we got mad, we would get mad at ourselves. He also had to say this too. He said that, Kobe and Shaq would be so envious of me. They catered to me so much about me coming to the game, going out after the game, having parties, doing this, doing that, hotel stuff. He said they couldn't stand me on that damn team, to be honest with you. Now, I I'm going to say this, okay? Now, let's talk about the LA situation first. I witnessed that, and I'm gonna be real with you. I knew it wasn't gonna work in the beginning because of for several things. Kobe Bryant, he was a different monster, a different beast, and severely cared about winning. And you're talking about a guy that took care of his body on and off the floor. Did everything, and he was a workhorse, which was pretty much the opposite of what Shaquille O'Neal was. I've talked about it many times before. Shaquille O'Neal did not have the work ethic like Kobe did. He did not have the desire and determination. I mean, he did in a sense that, okay, to show up and win and stuff like that. But in terms of, the preparation was concerned, Shaquille O'Neal was nowhere near on the level of a Kobe Bryant. And so you have that right there going on, and then you throw in a guy like Dennis Rodman, who actually can do both. Because what you don't realize is that Dennis Rodman, yeah, while he liked to party and while he loves the fetishes of life and everything, it's still not. It still didn't stop him from doing his job, because when he was in LA, he still managed to grab 11.2 rebounds, and that was in 23 games with LA. You know what I'm saying? And you knew that it really wasn't going to work. But Dennis Rodman had always been like that. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something else though that's gonna trip you out. In the Detroit days, Dennis Rodman was not doing the party stuff per se. You know what I'm saying? He actually was just all about doing whatever was necessary for the damn team. He said basically that he just wanted to be somewhere. It wasn't until uh, when he started to kind of change his image just a little bit shortly before he left to Detroit. Then he had put a gun to himself, and many people thought that he was going to actually kill himself, which he did contemplate suicide. But he wanted to destroy himself of being just normal. And that's when he turned into abnormal. And then that's when he started to come with the tattoos. He started to come with the party and stuff like that. The athleticism, the work-life mentality has always been there. People got to realize that Dennis Rodman, he worked on a farm. And not only did he work on a farm with the family that took him in and stuff like that, he also was playing, college ball at the same time. And some of y'all might be like, well, what's the big deal? But if you've ever worked on a farm, you are going to be working from sun up to sundown. You're going to be taking care of cattle. You're going to be cleaning this, cleaning that, all sorts of things or whatever, So people got to understand that, Dennis Rodman had always had that killer work ethic. So it gets me back to the point. Basically, what I was saying is that here you have a guy like Dennis Rodman who's stepping into the locker room in the midst of a feud that was going on between Shaq and Kobe at that time. And also, you have a guy in Dennis Rodman that pretty much was over the NBA. You know what I'm saying? He had received a call from the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like the LA and Dallas days, that wasn't Dennis Rodman, man. That wasn't Dennis Rodman. You know what I'm saying? Because he he really didn't have the desire to play ball like that anymore. And that was up until then he started to he was playing in California for a semi-pro team. He even played in Mexico too. A lot of people don't remember that or know that. But to get back to what I was saying, Dennis Rodman did not have the desire to play anymore. So you got guys in there, like a Shaq or like a Kobe with big egos. You're in LA. There's the expectation. But at the same token, there's also the situation because at that time, what I'm saying, he was messing around with Jeannie Buss and that whole situation, you know what I'm saying, and which he came out about and stuff and was very vocal about. And also, Dennis Rodman would go to pretty much all the parties and stuff. And he said that, Kobe and Shaq and them were jealous of that. And they were also infuriated by that. I know why. I know why Kobe was upset about it. He was upset at the fact that, okay, man, you're supposed to be focused on winning championships, stuff like that, play ball and stuff. Kobe wasn't into that party and stuff like that. While Shaq was jealous because he was getting all the attention. Michael Jordan going over to Chicago for a second, he wasn't worried about Dennis Rodman being more popular than him because Michael Jordan, a lot of people don't realize this, he was an introvert and he cared about one thing, and that was winning championship. But that's what he said about LA. Now, my thoughts on it it's pretty much what I said. Dennis Rodman was gonna do what he did regardless. Okay. Um, while I like Dennis Rodman and I respect Dennis Rodman, I felt like him going over there to LA and him going over there to Dallas, man, that to me, that was just a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? Because, by that time it was just like, okay, you're not getting the Dennis Rodman that was in Chicago, and you're not getting the Dennis Rodman that was in San Antonio, and you're not getting the Dennis Rodman that definitely was in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, he still was able to get, 5 championships out of the deal. Yeah, okay. Now, this is let's tackle the Chicago situation, okay? And if you've listened to Two Rock video, you already know pretty much the gist of it. But basically, Dennis Rodman had basically said he knows why um, Michael Jordan. I mean, he knows why Scottie Pippen was angered by Michael Jordan or whatever, you know. And it was a documentary, of course, that it came out where we talk about the Last Dance, but he was upset that Michael Jordan had received 10 million, and Scottie Pippen didn't get a damn thing. And that's basically what Dennis Rodman had to say about it and stuff. And I mean, it's a lot of speculation as to why Scottie Pippen was angered by the situation, you know. But me myself personally, like when it comes to that situation right there, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that goes into that, man. Like you could dissect it in so many ways. And my thing is this: if you were angry about that situation, or about the money or something like that, man, all you had to do was just pick up the phone and call. As I've said before, this was nothing. This had always been harbored jealousy and ill will, and of course he was upset about Michael Jordan going into the whole situation that went on with when 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 Jordan wasn't there, and Scotty felt some type of way about that. Now, who better than to key in on that situation than a guy like Dennis Rodman, right? Um, Let me say this, okay? Dennis Rodman, man, um, he by by the time the 96, 97, and 98 season had rolled around, Dennis Rodman was starting to get exhausted in terms of basketball, and the league had the league was starting to give up on Dennis Rodman. They were starting to give up on Dennis Rodman, and he was about to be out of the league per se. But it was Phil Jackson and of course MJ, but more importantly, it was also Scottie Pippen. A lot of people don't understand that Scottie Pippen had co-signed for Dennis Rodman to come there because there was still that envy and that hatred and stuff like that was going on when you talk about the Bulls rivalry and the Detroit rivalry. Now, not that wasn't so much on Dennis Rodman's end because he said he really didn't give a damn. He didn't care. He just wanted to come on there and do his job or whatnot. Um, I think it was more so Scotty, but Scotty had pretty much had co-signed and said, "Hey, let's just move on from the shit or whatever." You know what I'm saying? But back in those days, the competitive nature of playing ball was so high that it even spilled off the court too as well. Now I don't want to chill with you. That hatred, that Detroit versus Chicago hatred, is something that still exists in some fans today, and that's just what I was talking about earlier. With the whole people willing to take any type of chances and where their life is involved and stuff like that. You have people like that. Um, in terms of those teams. But to get back to Dennis Rodman or whatever, Dennis Rodman did have just as much as a say so as anybody else as to what went on between MJ and Pippen or whatever, and a lot of people don't understand, man, that in '96, also in '98, really in '96 and '98, Dennis Rodman in '97, not taking anything away from '97, but really in '96 and '98, Dennis Rodman was a very force that was needed. And Two Raw, man, shout out to Two Raw again. Now, Two Raw said that the '92 Bulls could have beaten the '96 Bulls. I don't think so because Dennis Rodman was on a whole nother level. He would have. To me, he was more of a force than Horace Grant. Even though Horace Grant, he could score and do all that other stuff, but I still on any given day, I will take Dennis Rodman on any given time because I can use Dennis Rodman pretty much all over the floor, whether it's perimeter or even down low or whatnot. And also, you know, Michael Jordan, he was playing with a chip on his shoulder. Unlike, yeah, I know in '92, he was starting. Some people feel like he was starting to kind of lose it a little bit like that, but I don't really see that because when he came in and he dominated in Phoenix, killing at an all-time rate, in which people had projected the Chicago Bulls to be even, the Phoenix to beat the Chicago Bulls, and even, what's it called? Charles Barkley was the MVP and everything. It was a lot of people that were sleeping on Michael Jordan, so he had a chip on his shoulder. So in that '93 version of Michael Jordan was something killer too. But the '96 version, yeah, he wasn't the high flyer, nothing like that. But Michael Jordan was reliable, and so was Dennis. And see, another thing that I think that True Raw had brought up that was a very valuable point too, and I've always said this. I think I even shout out to the brother C Hill. We were talking about this one time, and I said if it was a long time ago, Dennis Rodman arguably was the most important person in that '96 finals, especially when you talk about at that time the Supersonics, whether you want to believe it or not, were a juggernaut. And they had athleticism, they had shooters, and then more importantly, they had defenders. That's the thing that James had pointed out about that Supersonics team. That was extremely important. So them being able to utilize Dennis Rodman, and see, a lot of people don't understand that Sean Kemp was a problem, man. Sean Kemp was a problem. Gary Payton was a problem on Michael Jordan, even though Michael Jordan had to adjust. Look, that team was kind of difficult. You know what I'm saying? To face in terms of challenging. It was a challenging will, and everything. Even though the Bulls, it might have looked like they didn't have no problems, but they still had to kind of figure it out or whatever, because they were a young team. They had a lot of energy, everything. But Dennis Rodman to me was way, way, way more important in that series than a lot of the players on the floor. Yeah, he wasn't putting up, no 30 or 40 points and everything, but you could pretty much utilize Dennis Rodman on everything. And a lot of people don't understand this. Dennis Rodman's passing was so underrated. He was an exceptional passer, especially when you talk about that overhead, the overhead pass, the overhead outlet. And see, all you had to do was outlet that bitch. Michael running wide, Scotty running wide, and guess what? Scotty, 3-on-2 or 2-on-1, whatever. It's all day. They're gonna finish that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And even though Michael Jordan, he wasn't quite the defender that he was, and then of course Scottie Pippen. See, we got to talk about that. That's why they made that Last Dance or whatever. Scottie Pippen. I mean, it was Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman that was holding things down. They were holding things down for the majority of the season or whatever. Even Michael Jordan knew that Rodman was so important that he was like, "Look, get your ass up. I need you," or whatever. Hey, Dennis Rodman would get up, bam, flew back in there, came in there in his pajamas or whatever. Bam, let's get to work. Some people have that mentality and some people don't. What works for you ain't gonna work for the next man, and that's why. Hey, you can't tell me any time that Dennis Rodman wasn't durable. He was durable. He was always there. He was always ready to play. You know what I'm saying? What's up with it, Jelly Bean? I'll see you in the building. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to the homie Jelly Bean 4280. He bringing video game. He bringing boxing. He's a veteran. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, this man is a hard worker, man. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Jelly Bean. Salute to Jelly Bean, man. But, for the most part, man, Dennis Rodman, he spoke his truth. A lot of people don't give him credit or anything like that. I give him all the credit in the world because you needed Dennis Rodman as well as Michael Jordan especially when Scottie Pippen was going through that contractual situation. It was Dennis Rodman that was very important. Yes, they struggled for a little bit, but they got it together. Even when Dennis Rodman was kind of mentally exhausted from the game, he did not really want to play anymore. But hey, he knew that winning was important, and they still got it done, even at 37, 38 years old. But that '96 team, I feel like nobody was gonna fuck with the '96 team. That was that team right there. And see, Michael Jordan, he had a chip on his shoulder to prove to people that he was still that guy, because the previous year before in '95, they were talking shit. Orlando, was talking shit, saying this and that about him and stuff like that. Uh, you know, all this stuff, and Horace and all that. Nah, and see, that summer he had closed everything out for Space Jam and stuff like that. Guess who was running with him? That motherfucker Dennis Rodman. It was motherfucker. It was everybody in there. Reggie Miller. I think Antoine Walker was in the bitch. You know what I'm saying? It was shirts and skins, and he was like during the set of Space Jam and all that shit. Nigga, he was like, look, I'm finna get my ass in shape. I don't give a fuck. I'm finna work out 2 to 3 times a day. He would work out, you know what I'm saying? Then do his little video, then go back to the gym. Then he go lift some weights, go get some lunch, back to the gym. They had weights in there, all that shit. Go look it up. He had a chip on his shoulder, and nobody was gonna fuck with him. Was he that Jordan coming through in '86 and '87? Nah, he wasn't, with the chain on and all that shit. No. Was he the Jordan in '85 and all that shit where he was playing both ends of the floor? You know what I'm saying? Block a shot, then sprint all the way down, then go ahead and dunk, and then chase your motherfucking ass down on defense, or him hitting his head in Carolina trying to block shots, trying to go at Len Bias and shit like that. No, he wasn't that. He wasn't that guy no more. But in '96, it was just as important because people started to doubt motherfucking Michael Jordan. And I know some people don't, they feel some type of way about Jordan and all this shit, but it was facts. But the thing that you could say is that in that finals, Dennis Rodman could have gotten MVP. And then also in '96, they went, listen, '96, they were better than '92. So that's just my take on it, man. I thank everybody for listening. Thank y'all for listening to this video, pulling up. Like the video, share it, subscribe, hit the notification. Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment. I'll get at y'all later.